Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Golfmonger Show. I'm your host, Brian Steff, and I am the Golfmonger. Having a little fun today on a Thursday here. Last Thursday in July. Can you believe it's almost August already? Wow.
Don't
Where
remind
has
me,
the
man.
summer
Golly.
gone?
It is gone out of here, man.
No kidding. It's got about 2 good weeks left here at the beach of the summer tourists, and then we go back to being a regular.
Speaking of
Regular
which,
place.
man, have we not had a fabulous tourist season here in Myrtle Beach this year?
We have. It's
I mean,
busy.
they
It's
have been here.
hot. They've been packing the place.
I mean, we had a record weekend, the 2 weekends around the 4th.
Yeah.
It was just fantastic. And I swear, this last weekend, I think there was even more people here.
Even the golf courses have been busy in
Yeah.
the summer, which is not the
that's
norm
great.
here. So
Yeah.
it's been great. But before we go any further today, a quick reminder: today's show is brought to you by VPAR. Our good friends Charlie was here a couple of weeks ago with us doing some scoring. Go check them out. It's the #1 golf app in the world. Check it out at simply vpar.com. So Quicken Loans National in Virginia this week. Change of venue. They're at the Robert Trent Jones Golf Club. Last year, Justin Rose won at Congressional. And a lot of people said, well, it was set up a little bit like the Open. And so everybody thought Rory was going to have a big advantage because, that's where he ran away with the U.S. Open. But Justin Rose was the one that got the win. But they're playing at a little different. They're playing at a different venue this week. Currently, they're in a weather delay. Well, let's take a quick peek at the leaderboard before we get in. We're not going to spend much time on the tour today. I got a fun article we're going to touch on and have a little fun today. I'm going to test your rules knowledge.
Uh-oh.
Test both of our rules knowledge, really. So apparently the course is playing like a par 3, a pitch and putt, because Retief Grusin and Justin Leonard are at 8 under through 17 with the weather stoppage, which means I'm sure my fantasy team looks like a train wreck. So haven't even looked at it yet today. But
I'll tell you how bad mine is. I forgot to set it up. I think 7 out of my 8 guys aren't in it.
Oh, no. So you're not going to win this week, then, huh?
No.
It's one less guy I got to worry about. So here's the thing. For weeks, months, the conversation, if Tiger Woods is in the field, is going to make the cut? Is he, how's he going to play? Is he going to be around for the weekend? Is he going to contend? And the quick answer this week is Tiger will definitely be around for the weekend because he's the host.
Whether he's playing or
He's
not.
not allowed to leave because he's got to present the trophy to the winner on Sunday. So he'll be around for the weekend. That's how you guarantee is you host a tournament.
Yep.
So for all you Tiger lovers out there that are hoping he's going to make the weekend, he's going to this week, regardless of his score.
Yeah.
You got that going for you, which is nice. But no, seriously, Jason Day last week. I do want to touch on that. What a charge down the stretch. What a way to finish a golf tournament for your 4th PGA Tour win. He looked like he was going to have a chance at the U.S. Open. Didn't quite work out. Looked like he was going to have a real good shot at the Open at St. Andrews. When we had our coverage here on Monday, I think we described it as very typical description of thank God you don't have to draw pictures, because he was all over the map, but yet just kept parring away.
Yeah.
And but had about a 20-foot birdie putt on 18 would have put him in the playoff that he left about a foot short. So he birdies 16, he birdies 17. He comes to the 18th. He feels like he didn't need the birdie, but with Bubba Watson and in the fairway behind him, on a par 5, so he certainly could eagle. Along with David Hearn, the Canadian, who was trying to be the first Canadian to win the Canadian Open since 1961.
Can you believe that? Holy cow.
And he would have been the first Canadian-born Canadian, if that makes any sense to you, since like 1914 or something like that. Because the last Canadian that won it back in '61, he was actually born in England. So he didn't need the birdie, but there he is staring down the birdie from almost the same distance, the same kind of putt he had at St. Andrews, and this time he jarred it. And did you see I don't know if you were watching or not or saw the highlights, but the emotion. I mean, the fist pump. Like 4 feet from the hole, he started walking and then giving it the pump. And the yell, like you could hear him, like yelling. And which was fantastic because I think he knew that was a win.
Yeah.
Because, don't get me wrong, Bubba hit a phenomenal shot in. Just came right over the top of the flag. And he missed the green, but he ended up with a decent chip and a chance to eagle and tie. David Hearn also, he just missed. He pulled his and put it in the greenside bunker, so he was out. But, I mean, I think it's like he knew by making that putt he was winning. Like, there's no way they're going to eagle on top. Standing in the fairway, watching me make that putt, they're not going to win. You know, It's kind of like he knew. And we all like Jason Day. He plays a little slow for my liking. You know, he's got that whole take a breath, close your eyes, little zen moment before where he pictures the shot, you know. But he's a likable guy. You know, he's one of those 20-somethings that should be taking over the golf world here, you know, and he's certainly in that mix. And one of those, he's on the short list of best golfers not to win a major.
The professor, Gene Weldon, made a comment recently that I think was very fitting. He said, if a guy ever figures out how good he is, it's lights out.
Excuse me. Yeah, he's so good. He hits the ball far.
Yeah.
And he can putt. I mean, he's got the whole package. I mean, he just, and he seems to have it up top, too. Like, he doesn't have mental lapses. He doesn't. I think this thing that slowed him down the last couple of years is he had that wrist and thumb injury.
Yeah.
But it was a great win. It was a great way to see him win. You know, strong like that, just take it. You know, he started the day 2 back, ended up finishing with a win by 1.
Yep.
A lot of fun. The Canadian Open is actually a really fun tournament. It's a shame that it falls the week after the Open Championship every year.
Yeah, it kind of takes
because
some
I
of the
think it
sizzle out
would
of
get more pub if it was a couple of weeks later, or a couple of weeks earlier, or because they play some nice. I mean, Glen Abbey's a great track. You know, they don't always play the same place. They move it around up there a little bit, but they draw big crowds. You get commitment guys. You know, obviously with RBC being the title sponsor, you're going to get all their guys to play, which helps. Jason Day being one of them. But it's a great tournament. You just don't, that the casual golf fan probably overlooks because of the location on the schedule. But let's shift gears a little bit. I ran across this article the other day, and it's fun to do this from time to time. The most misunderstood rules in golf that the casual golfer screws up, the amateur golfer screws up, and I'm going to run through these. There's just a handful of them, and let's see what you know and what you don't know, or what we know and what we don't know. And I'm not going to. I haven't cheated. I didn't read through all these.
All right.
I saw the title and was like, "This is going to be fun for the show."
That's good.
So I didn't even look at it.
Yep.
A golfer who is off the green must play a shot before the golfer who's on the green. True or false?
False.
Correct. Farthest from the hole plays no matter what.
Yep.
No matter what. And a lot of people are like, oh, go ahead and come on and hit on.
Yeah.
And some of that, when you're playing the amateur game, is pace of play.
Yep.
Go ahead and hit on while we're lining up our putts.
Yeah.
Go ahead and chip on.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, actually, if I'm not ready to hit, and I've missed the green, but I came up just short, and the flag is on the front, and you hit to the far back of the green, and you got an 80-foot putt, and I've got a 6-yard chip. You have to, if we're playing by the real rules, you have to play before me.
Yep.
But you see a lot of people, no, I'm on the green. You go ahead and hit.
I've had guys tell me, you're out. You know, you're on the green. I said, no, you're out. Yeah, but you're not on the green.
Yeah. They'll argue that you're on the green trumps everything. No, it doesn't. It's still closest to the hole.
Yep.
The next one is a ball that is touched and falls off the tee after it's been addressed counts as a stroke.
No, false.
Wow, you were quick on that one. I had to think about
it. We got a show here called Rules of Golf that we've done for 2 or 3 years off and on.
Yeah.
And just so happens
That was one of them?
The first two have been covered by either Martin Woodhouse or Frank Monk.
That was one of them?
Yeah.
Sorry for those of you guys watching on TV. We got a new box here, and it keeps going in and out on me. Where I can't hear.
You're in.
I got it. I think I'm good now. I changed.
Okay, yeah.
I changed. I think I'm good.
Cool.
It says here in most cases it doesn't count as a stroke, and the ball should be re-teed without a penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only time that counts is if the ball was already in play, like if it was your second or third or fourth shot or whatever. Yeah. But that's the joke when you're on the tee and you're addressing the ball falls off. I was like, now hitting three.
Yeah.
That's the standard joke on the tee, right? But yeah, true. In a scramble or an other team format, it is acceptable for you to stand on or close to an extension of your partner's line while they make the putting stroke.
False.
That is also false.
Yeah.
But we all do it.
It's been also been covered on Rules of Golf right here. Yeah.
But we all do it.
We all do it.
When you're playing in a scramble,
and
you're putting first,
yeah.
I'm squatting down behind you watching you putt.
You're damn right.
Or on the other side of the
and not to mention helping you with read the green. What do you see?
Yes.
What do you see?
I think you're allowed to do that when you're on a team. Because you watch them do it in the Ryder Cup all the time.
Yeah.
As teammates, you're allowed to do that. But the fact is, I'm not allowed to be standing directly behind your ball and your line watching you putt.
Yep.
And I don't believe you're allowed to stand. This isn't addressing that, but it says I can't be directly on the other side of the hole either, watching it from that direction, which is I'm very guilty of that in a scramble.
Yep.
Because I'm a good putter. You know that. So generally, I'm putting last in a scramble. Let me see the line a couple of times.
Yep.
But what I like to do on the first putt or two, I like to stand on the other side of the hole.
Yeah.
And watch it, and then I go back. So I cheat twice, I guess.
Yep.
But everybody does it, and the first time I heard that, of course, playing in a charity scramble event with the guru of the interpretations of the rules of golf, our very own Frank Monk.
Frank Monk, yeah.
He's like, we're on the first hole, and he goes, dude, you need to move. I'm like, am I standing on an anthill? I mean, that's because we were just off the edge of the green.
Yeah.
Or I'm where I'm standing, and he's like, no, you can't stand right behind the line while he putts.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I know, but this is a scramble. It's different. He goes, no, it's not.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. So, but that's something that happens. Any scramble you ever play in, anything like that, you're going to see that. And you're not really playing by the rules a lot of time in those anyway because it's a scramble. It's a charity thing. It doesn't even matter. If you hit a ball into the water hazard, you can hit a provisional ball before going to search for the original. True or false?
If you know it went into the water, I mean, that's true if it went into the area of a hazard. You're not sure if it went in there.
If you hit a ball into a water hazard, listen to how I'm saying it.
Yeah.
If you hit a ball into a water hazard, you can hit a provisional ball before going to search for the original.
Well, I mean, I think the part of this question right here is if you knew it went into the water hazard.
Right.
And if you knew it went into a water hazard, you cannot.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because if you are virtually certain your ball's in the water, you cannot hit a provisional. The next shot you play is considered to be your ball in play.
Yeah.
So it's got to be, now if you think your ball might be outside the hazard, you can hit a provisional.
Yeah.
But then again, that's conferring with your
and the
playing
rule
partners.
Virtual certainty is the key to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if your ball is in the hazard but not in the water, and you've hit a provisional, you have to abandon the provisional and take the ball that you found in the hazard. Yeah. All right. If you hit a ball in a water hazard marked with yellow stakes or lines, you can always drop within 2 club lengths where the ball last crossed the hazard's boundary. Let me read that again. If you hit a ball in a water hazard marked with yellow stakes or lines, you can always drop within 2 club lengths of where the ball last crossed the hazard's boundary.
That's false.
Red is lateral.
Yeah.
Correct. There are only 3 options when a ball enters a hazard marked by yellow stakes. Play it as it lies, replay from the previous position, drop a ball outside the hazard behind the point where the ball last entered it, keeping the point directly between the hole and the spot in which the ball is dropped.
Yeah.
There's no limit to how far behind that point you can drop. The last 2 options, are what you should the
Right.
amateur golfer should take.
Yep.
Now, let me say this. I think for pace of play, public golf courses, and we've talked about that extensively here, I think instead of out of bounds, instead of white stakes, there should be yellow.
Yeah. Yeah, give yourself another option other than
Or
retail.
actually double the stakes. Have
Yeah.
them white and yellow. Because technically you can play it as a lies and a hazard, which means idiots will be in people's backyards
Yeah, you can't do that.
hitting balls. So you have to have white stakes but also yellow with them.
Yeah.
And you've seen when they double them up like that in places. I think all OB should be that way for pace of play.
I do too.
Instead of going all the way back to the tee.
There's no reason that
Right, or all the way back up the fairway, like if it's your second shot on a par 5 and you're playing in a development or whatever, where a lot of courses, and we see that a lot here at the beach, where, homes are built along and the par 5, it's sort of reachable in 2, so guys are going for it.
Yep.
But there's a house right on the other side of the cart path, so there's OB stakes.
Yep.
And so you're 260 yards out, swinging out. Idiots are swinging out of their shoes. They can't hit it.
Yeah.
They're 3-wood 220, but they're going for it.
Yeah.
And they slice it off into the woods, and it's in somebody's backyard. They find it. They go all the way back up the fairway to hit again.
Yeah.
For amateur golf, I think you should have your white stakes double staked, white and yellow.
Yeah.
So that way you can treat it as a yellow hazard, so you can replay from the previous position if you want.
Yeah.
But the main option would be to drop a ball outside the hazard point, where the ball last entered it, keeping the point directly between the hole and the spot in which the ball is dropped with no limit to how far back you go.
Yeah.
And that should be the way it should be played.
Yeah,
you need to have the white stakes so idiots aren't playing out of people's backyards.
Yeah. The issue with that is because it's OB and because it's normally it's always, well, I can think of one course where it's not, but where it's normally on the outside edges of the golf course, it's kind of hard to take a drop. In many cases, it's going to be hard to take a drop, keeping a line where it crossed and the hole in line.
Yeah, but for pace of play purposes, it's still better than going all the way back.
I think what you do on that case is you just make it a lateral hazard stroking distance.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Next one. If your ball is unplayable, you're entitled to a drop in a spot that gives you a playable lie.
If your ball is unplayable, you're eligible to take a drop with penalty, but there's nothing in the rule says that it
Has to be to a playable area.
has to be the playable area.
Yeah, right. There's no guarantee that says, oh, well, I can go back. You have 3 options. You can replay the previous shot.
Yep.
Drop a ball behind the point where the ball lay, keeping that point directly between the hole and the spot with no limit to how far back you go. Or drop within 2 club lengths of the spot where the ball lay, no closer to the hole.
Yep.
The number 3 is what most people do.
Yep.
Take 2 club lengths
Yep.
and go for it. Number 2 is the one that you see a lot of guys on tour that know the rules better take. They'll gladly go back further,
Yeah.
to get, in the line when their ball came in so they can take a full shot, have a swing or whatever, as opposed to, because sometimes 2 club lengths doesn't make you any better.
It depends. Yeah. In some cases
Yeah.
where you hit it too close,
Yeah.
it's going to take a lot more than 2 club lengths.
Right, if you hit it too deep in the crack. 2 club lengths doesn't help you at all. Yeah, no kidding. The next one. You can either remove an out-of-bounds stake or take relief from it or any fence while marking that marks the course's boundary.
Course's boundary.
Yes. You can either remove an out-of-bounds stake or take relief from it or any fence/wall that marks the course's boundary. I would have got this wrong.
I would have to say yes.
Cannot. Not if it's marking the boundary of the course.
Huh.
I would have got that wrong.
Yeah.
Because anything that's a movable object, you should be able to move.
Yeah.
But if it's marking the course's boundary, you play the ball as it lies or take an unplayable lie and proceed under the rules
Under
we
the
just
previous
talked
rule,
about,
yeah.
the previous rule.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because I would have always thought that, and what you get in amateur golf in a lot of places is you get near the if the fairway's roped off or they don't want you driving the carts or whatever, if
Yep.
your ball's there, you either move the ball, depending on how stickler to the rules you want to be. Technically, you should move the stake in the rope and go ahead and play from where it lies. But I didn't know that you couldn't do it from an out from a boundary marker.
Yep.
You can't have a ball marked off the green unless it interferes with your ball stance or swing.
Say that again now.
You can't have a ball marked off the green unless it interferes with your ball stance or swing.
Can't have a ball marked off the green. I'd say that's true.
You can, if you think another ball might interfere with your play of a hole, you can request to be marked and lifted. But the note for the person doing the mark and lifting, the ball can't be cleaned off unless it's on the putting green.
Huh.
So technically, if you're on the fringe,
If I'm on the fringe,
and I'm in the greenside bunker,
yeah,
and I think there's this chance when I blast out of the bunker, my ball might land or roll or hit where your ball is, even though it's still not on the green. I can ask you to mark it.
yeah, I can.
You can, but when you mark it, you can't pick it up and rub the mud or dirt or whatever off of it.
Yeah.
You have to, and then you have to put it right back down.
All right. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's one I've never even thought. I don't know that I've ever even thought of that. Because generally, it's really only when you're on the green putting. But I guess technically, could be anywhere.
Yep.
And it could be anywhere. But yeah, the thing is, there's more danger for the person marking their ball making a mistake than me hitting the ball, because what's your natural inclination when you pick up your golf ball?
Clean it off.
Clean it off, right? Speaking of guys cleaning off golf balls, what was it? 2-3 weeks at the John Deere a few weeks ago. Young kid, Saturday they had a lot of rain. Saturday they played lift, clean, and cheat.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday they weren't. It was a young kid that was in contention. I think it was the John Deere. They're like on the 15th fairway or whatever, and his ball had mud on it, and he picked it up. Like totally had a brain fart, thinking they were still playing lift, clean, and place.
Yep.
And you could see he picked up his ball. He looked at his caddy, and the look on his face was like,
"Oh gosh,
what did I just do? Oh my God, this isn't Saturday." And he took the 1-stroke penalty.
Yep.
And he bogeyed the last hole, but at the time he finished. If he wouldn't have bogeyed the last hole, he'd have finished one shot out.
Yep.
But he bogeyed the last hole. But how rough? Just a complete brain fart.
Yep.
If you find your ball, if you can't find your ball, you can go back to the tee and play a provisional ball.
If you can't find your ball, you can go back to the tee and play a provisional. You should have played the provisional before you went to look.
Correct.
Yeah.
So if you have any doubt, you should play a provisional.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if for some reason you don't, and then you go back,
yeah,
the second you strike that ball, even if you find your other ball, it doesn't count. You have to play the provisional.
Yeah.
Which means you're lying 3. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, it's if you're ever in doubt, you should hit a provisional.
Yep.
Which is, to me, it's common sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you go back, like if you don't think it's lost because there's a course you've played 100 times, I know where that went. Nowhere, I'll find it. And you get out there and you can't find it.
Yeah.
And you go back to the tee and you hit.
Yep.
And then you come down the fairway, and while you're coming back down the fairway, and your buddies is going, "Hey,
I found
your ball.
Here it is."
Tough crap.
Too late.
Tell them to pick it up because you have to play the provisional.
Yep.
I think we got one last one here. When your ball stance or swing is interfered with by a cart path, you always take relief on the side farthest away from the hole.
False.
It's the nearest spot off of the cart path that allows you a clean stance.
Yep. And interestingly,
without going closer to the hole.
Yeah, we had that question came in on our website chat. While I was working this weekend, Dave wasn't here, and I had the chat on. And apparently the guys were playing somewhere. And they says, well, we'll get this answered. So they went to thegolfdirector.com and asked the question. And I very promptly went to the USGA, gave them my opinion, went to the USGA rule, and sent the rule to them.
Yeah, it's the closest. Well, but can I say in a player's defense that is probably the safest bet?
Mm-hmm.
is to say, well, I don't want to go closer to the hole, so I should probably put myself farther away. Because let's face it, in every situation, if you have to take a drop or whatever, the one consistent is further away from the hole or no closer to the hole.
Yeah.
It's proper to say no closer to the hole because you don't have to go further away. You can go parallel.
Yeah.
No closer to the hole. So naturally, well, this side of the cart path, I should have to go the other side. No,
Yeah.
it's where you can get the closest relief where you can have a clean stance and hit your ball. That probably is one of the more in the groups I play in. That's probably the more of all those rules, other than the one for the scramble where you line up behind the ball or whatever, because everybody does that or whatever. There's probably only a couple that I would screw up on the golf course.
Yeah.
They weren't that.
You ever hit a ball off the cart path?
I have.
Have to.
I've had where that's the best shot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I try to pick as clean as possible because I don't have money to replace clubs.
Yeah. I had a set of ping copper berylliums, and my 5-iron, when I sold it, still had the
had the mark on
had the mark on it from where I hit the ball off the cart path.
Well, let me tell you that it's I've done it a couple of times because it was the best shot. Like if I went to either side of the cart path, or I went to where my proper drop was supposed to be.
Yep.
It's a terrible shot.
Yeah, it's not always.
So I just played it.
Yeah.
I've also nowadays, without wearing steel spikes, I've actually stood on the cart path.
I stood on the cart path several times and hit a ball because a lot of times
the angle for the shot was fine.
Absolutely.
And with the and my golf shoes I don't even have the plastic spikes. I've just got the metal. I've just got the rubber knobbies.
Yeah.
Like the old turf baseball shoes.
Yeah.
So I stand on the cart path.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And hit. But that's always. I thought we'd have a little fun with that today. I'm
like
surprised we knew more of those than I thought. I thought they might have some little trickier ones in here. But let's just say, I don't know who did the homework and what makes these officially the hardest, the most missed rules. I mean, when you start talking about places to drop and things like that, that's where it can get confusing.
The thing that I can kick myself about right now, and I need to correct this, is that when we did all of the rule shows here, they weren't properly indexed on the website. So that you could easily search and see the title and know which rule it is and what it's about. And someday I'm going to hire an intern to go back and go through all that whole thing and title the rule with the rule number, and in the excerpt put what it addresses.
So it's easier to find.
Yeah, because that's very valuable stuff. And
it is.
It's really cool sitting here as a producer and going through those things. And I've had pros. Jimmy Biggs, one day, he says, man, I was listening to the radio y'all today, and I couldn't believe you're doing a freaking rules of golf thing. How boring is that? And he said, then all of a sudden, you're talking about a rule, and I didn't know it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. And by the way, we could go on forever with this because, in my opinion, it's a whole other topic for a whole other show, which we will do at some point. I know that the rules of golf and integrity and blah, blah, blah. It's what makes it great is it's the only game you can play exactly the way the professionals play and yada, yada, so on and so forth. The average handicap in this country, 95% of the people that play golf can't break 100. Do they really need to follow the exact same rules as the guys?
We had this discussion at breakfast this morning. Mike Bender, Mike Busseroni, and I were sitting at breakfast, and we had this exact discussion.
I mean, is it really necessary for the guy that's best on his best day shoots 105 to –
that's fantasy land, man.
Take two club lengths directly back from the entry flight of where the ball went in, so that he can be sure to drop in the exact proper spot where he needs to.
Yeah.
I mean, is that even necessary?
No, it's ridiculous, man. I mean, it's ridiculous that.
Or I didn't find my ball, so I have to go all the way back to the tee. Is that necessary for the guy that's going to shoot 110?
No.
Because that's what most people shoot.
Yeah.
Of course not. There needs to be the PGA Tour rules. And listen, I'm not saying amateurs can't play by the regular rules of golf. If you choose to and you want to.
And you're playing a tournament.
And you're playing go right ahead.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't feel bad. And I guess you don't even need another set of rules, but I think if you did, it would help pace the play even more.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, when you and I go out and play, and when I say you and I think I'm speaking for most of your average golfers. You hit the ball, I thought you were in bounds, you're out of bounds.
Yep.
Just drop one.
Drop one. Yeah.
I'm not taking you all the way back. I don't want to watch you drive all the way back to the tee box
and piss the guys off that are
just drop a ball here. You're hitting 3 from here. What the hell? Yeah. I mean, you're technically gaining a stroke, yes, because you should have gone back and hit 3 from back there. But but so what? You know, everybody in our foursome's cool with it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. And I'm feeling pretty confident when I say that a very high percentage of your amateur golfer does do that.
And I have played in tournaments where that was a local rule,
a tournament
rule.
Well, and a lot of courses are so let's do that. Maybe that we should get on the crusade where more courses should enforce more local rules.
I agree. I agree with that 100%. We have had that discussion a lot. I think especially here where we play a lot of resort golf. I mean, where a lot of resort golf rounds are played.
Yes.
Local rules should be enacted that say this, because how many people come here on vacation are actually addressing their handicap? You know?
The only local rule you see a lot of courses around here is drop zones.
Yeah.
Because they don't want guys hitting 3-4 balls in the water when there's a forced carry.
Yeah.
Drop on the other side of the water, which is totally against every rule because you're supposed to. Yeah. But it's a local rule.
Yeah.
And a lot of the courses here have them. Hell, there's some holes that there was a course back home that I played in college when I played college golf. That was a par 5. It was a little tiny island green, very narrow, but it was reachable in 2. But the hard part was damn near couldn't stop it on the green because you're using a fairway metal or a long. Well, in those days, long iron. There were no hybrids.
Yeah.
So it was you're bringing a 3-iron in. You're not. I mean, and the green was only about 30 yards deep. You're not stopping it.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, you can't hit that high. The drop zone, if you went over the green, like rolled through, was on the island.
Huh.
And it was a downhill slope. The fairway sloped down to the island to where there wasn't a flat area to lay up to.
Yeah.
So now you're hitting off a downhill lie to a very narrow green for your third shot to hope for birdie. Where I've seen guys from 80 yards out, because it's a downhill slope, put it in the water, either chunk it, hit it short, hit it too hard because because it's downhill. It's a tough lie. We would purposely hit over the green so you could drop on the island.
Yeah.
It's a chip and a putt for par.
Yeah.
Taking advantage of a local rule.
Yeah.
There's courses around here that you could do the same thing.
Number 9 at River's Edge. I call it Arnie's Revenge.
Yes.
It's an Arnold Palmer signature course. If
yes.
if you drive it into that marsh, the drop's on the other side.
Yes.
Which makes that a decent way to play that hole.
I just can't hit it that far.
Well, good wind behind me and forward tees.
Yeah.
I'm a senior now.
Yeah. Well, if I'm playing with you from your tees with a big wind, then I might be able to get there. But I'd like to see, for pace of play purposes, and really, it would make the game more fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, all out-of-bounds stakes should be local rule. Do not go back to the tee.
Yep.
It's stroke and distance.
Yep.
All hazards. Just also to stop the confusion. All hazards, whether it's red staked, yellow staked, whatever. All hazards.
Lateral.
Play them lateral.
Yeah.
Stroke and distance.
Yeah.
And let's move the game forward.
Yeah.
Your amateur's going to shoot a little bit better scores. They're going to feel a little better about themselves. Instead of 5.5 hours, you're looking at 4.5 hours. Hey, it's a win for everybody.
Yeah,
so the golf course, the rounds are played faster, so the golf course can get more rounds out there. They get more afternoon rounds because the guys in the morning aren't taking forever to play.
Yep.
It's a home run.
Yep.
I really think that a lot of these, and that was one of the reasons I wanted to do this. They wanted to test our knowledge, but so many of these are rules that are pace of play problems for amateur golf.
Yep, I agree. Yeah.
Because you don't know where to drop. It's an unplayable lie. How am I supposed to drop this?
Yeah.
Well, there's 3 options.
Yep.
Well, that's crazy for an amateur golfer.
Yeah.
Give them one.
Yeah.
Lateral hazard, stroke and distance. Go back as far as you want, man. Who cares? Don't go any closer to the hole. And you're if you're off the tee, you're line 3. If it was your second shot, you're line 4. I mean, whatever. Just take a stroke. I mean, just move the game on. And move the game on. I think this was a prime example of it's fairly simple things that I guarantee you. What do we read? 8 or 10 of these?
Yeah.
Probably 6 or 7 of them happen in every round.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
For the amateur golfer.
And it's when we're doing Rules of Golf shows. It's amazing how many times, as soon as you start covering the rule, the next round it comes up.
Yeah. Oh, well, and you think about your round, you don't think, oh, geez, I don't know how I'm going to know these rules. These things never come up.
Yep.
They come up almost all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether it's to you personally or one of the three guys in your foursome, somebody hits it in the water and off the tee, or you're not sure where it went. Somebody's flirting with out of bounds. Somebody's hit an unplayable lie. Somebody's hit one in a yellow hazard. Somebody's hit one in a red hazard. Somebody's on the cart path. Somebody's, ball. I gotta hit past your ball to get to the hole. I mean, it happens every round you play.
It does.
So think about how much easier the round of golf would be, and shave time. If, hey, listen, when you're somewhere where you can't hit, it's stroking distance. Take a stroke, go back as far as you want. Just make sure you stay in the line you went in, and hit it again. Drop a ball and hit again.
Yeah.
Done. No out of bounds.
But the purists in the game will never allow that to happen, or not anytime soon.
I'm not saying that the purists in the game, they can play it the right way.
Yeah, well, they're the ones that make the rules, though, the USGA.
There's starting to be more and more push. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 10 years there isn't a amateur set of rules.
Yeah, I think there should be.
Or at least a push by the club pros to have more local rules.
Well, I mean, you said a mouthful there when you start talking about the club pros and their involvement in the game. To me, I think that's got more to do with the future success of the game than anything, is having the club pros.
I think if we polled the 90 club pros or 100 club pros, whatever we have here in the area, I think if we polled them and said, if you could make your own set of rules for your club, how many would you change? Or how many would you add?
Yeah.
There'd be at least a half a dozen rules from each course.
Yep.
I'd venture a guess.
Guarantee it. No, the ones that cause the most havoc, that create the most havoc.
I would venture a guess at least a half a dozen per course, per club pro. Now, a lot of them would be the same.
Yep.
But I would bet at least a half a dozen suggestions from each guy.
Yep.
Some of them, like places like River's Edge, where you got a lot of blind shots and wetlands and marsh and stuff. Jeff up there would probably have 15 that he'd want to do. But basically,
he's always making fun of me. They're taking out a bunch of trees now that they're redoing the greens up there to put more air in.
You say that's helping you?
Yeah, he says, Jeff, we're doing this for you, man.
It's because he's a jerk.
He's seen me play.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, well, that too. Yeah, I was going nice. I was saying he's the jerk. Yeah. But that was fun. I'm glad that we got a chance to do that today. That was a good time. Hope it helped you guys out there listening. Pay attention to those rules. You can find that on golfdigest.com is where I pulled it from, actually, a few days ago. It's a lot of fun. And I like it when they do those things like that where you can run down some lists and things. And because this isn't something, some of them are for debate, but this is just for a little bit of enlightenment. And I liked it. So we're going to wrap the show up with that. And thanks again to our friends at VPAR for sponsoring us today. Remember, it's the #1 golf app in the world. Go to vpar.com to check it out, and you can actually sign up for a free app download.
There you go.
And it's only $8 for their premium membership. It's
really
pretty darn good.
Yeah.
TG Radio and TV are produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for thegolfdirector.com. When you're visiting the Golf Director, make sure you check out our featured golf course pages. That's where you're going to find up-to-date information about our course condition specials and more. Hashtag just call Dave. That's right. If you need help with your next golf package, give us a call at 844-464-6531. 844-464-6531. All the programming here at thegolfdirector.com is archived for listening and viewing on demand. So if you want to catch up on a show you might have missed, just go to the tabs, click on the radio or the TV tabs in the menu at thegolfdirector.com and look us up. We're available on over 1 billion devices at iTunes, Audio Realm, TuneIn, YouTube, Ustream, Roku, Blueberry, and the Myrtle Beach Golf app. I'm Brian Steffen. I am the Golfmonger. Hit me up on Twitter at Golfmonger. On behalf of Jeff, the man behind the glass, pushing the buttons, thanks for tuning in. There's more great Golf Director news and information coming up next.